Okay, go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Nicole Campbell, and I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Smart Start of Mecklenburg County. And I'm your host for tonight's discussion on the parents' path to pre-K 4. We hope that we're able to bring some clarity for our community on some of the options we have available for you to prepare your children for their school journey. We know that this is a critical decision, and we want to be sure that you have all the information you need to make the best choice for your child and for your family. Throughout this presentation, you might want to have a sheet of paper to jot down notes. If you want to separate your sheet into 4 parts, we'll be presenting 4 programs to you here today. And if you're not able to catch all the notes, we will be recording this program for replay on our website and several of the other websites presented here in this presentation. You can also find some of this information on enrollprek.com. Please stay tuned to the end of the program to collect all the information you need to contact programs presented in this webinar for application and registration. We would also take any questions at the end you have at the end of this conversation. You could place those questions in the chat. So let's begin. We are grateful to be joined tonight by some of the leadership of 4 of the programs you might hear about most often here in Mecklenburg County. We'll have Miss Alicia Wilson representing Head Start. We have Dr. Mary Margaret Cantor representing MEC Pre-K. And we have representing both NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings, Dr. Elenia Daniels from CMS. So good to have you guys here tonight, ladies. And let us begin with our first question. Why is pre-K important? Why is that important? Why do we need pre-K 4? Why is that essential for children and families? Anybody want to begin? Go ahead, Dr. Daniels.
Well, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to serve as a panelist. The pre-K program is an important milestone and critical to early childhood development as it provides structured environments for children in which they can thrive and gain early foundational academic skills. During this stage, children develop their ability to interact with peers, teachers, foster important emotional and social skills. Pre-K programs also promote cognitive growth through structured play, guided learning experiences that reinforce language, literacy, and numeracy skills. We know that research shows that children who attend quality pre-K programs tend to perform better academically in later years and are more likely to succeed socially.
Anyone else want to chime in to why we need pre-K?
Sure. So I'll talk a little bit about pre-K and our premise. We also focus heavily on preparing children for kindergarten because we know that the demands of school are much, much higher than they were, back when I started teaching. Now, that was 45 years ago. So I know that was quite some time, but certainly the demands that are placed on our children in kindergarten now are much, much higher than they ever were. And they continue to grow, quite frankly. So giving children school-like opportunities to learn how to be in school, to develop some of the skills that prepare them for what they're asked to do from day 1 on in kindergarten. It's important for all those reasons. Dr. Daniels mentioned the social emotional impact and the ability to form connections both to a teacher and to other children. And then one of MEC Pre-K's premise is that children and parents are able to interact from the earliest years on in mixed groups, and that is demographically, economically, culturally, all of those type of things, because upward social mobility and economic mobility comes from when people begin to understand each other from a child's earliest years. And so that's what MEC Pre-K is sort of charged with doing. So that weighs heavily on why we believe children benefit from coming.
Okay, and Ms. Wilson, do you want to weigh in on why pre-K 4 is important?
Both Dr. Daniels and Dr. Margaret talked about the most important pieces of why pre-K is important, but let's talk about the economic and community impact as well, that pre-K programs have on the community. So we know that, high quality pre-K programs, they reduce future costs. We're talking about by lowering grade retention, dealing with special education needs, and then involvement in the criminal justice system. Understanding that every dollar invested in pre-K often returns multiple dollars in societal benefits, creating productive members of society.
Absolutely. And so I think one of the biggest questions that folks want to get some clarity on here today is one of the biggest reasons why we brought you three together to talk about the four programs. We are very blessed here in Mecklenburg County to have four very strong programs to help get these children ready for all the reasons that you guys listed. And so for families having four great options, it's really hard to decide what is the best for their child, what's the best fit. So we want to give each of you an opportunity to talk about your different programs and what you bring that might be different than any of the other programs that we have presented. So in no particular order, we will start with Alicia Wilson to talk about Head Start.
Okay, thank you. So, Alliance Center for Education, we're formerly Bethlehem Center of Charlotte. We've been in the community for over 85 years, as of this past October. Our mission is to provide high quality education and support for children in need through partnerships with their families, and our vision is to positively affect the futures of children at risk by improving economic mobility through education. We have 10 locations throughout the Charlotte region. Our core programs are Early Head Start, and we have our partnership programs with Smart Start in Mecklenburg County Pre-K, CMS Bright Beginnings, and NC Pre-K. We also have an out of school time program, which is an after school enrichment program for school aged children. That's for students K through 12. They have enrichment in literacy, STEM, arts, nutrition, and homework help during those after school and summer hours.
So for Head Start, are there any admission requirements for Head Start?
Yeah, so the eligibility requirements are you have to be categorically eligible. The categories that would make a family eligible for our program is that they are at or below the 100% of the poverty guideline. We do have the opportunity to enroll up to 35% of our funded enrollment that meets the 101 to 130% of the poverty guidelines, and we're also allotted 10% of over income families who make over 130% of the poverty guidelines. And those slots are mostly geared towards families who have children with documented disabilities. So not only is the income a factor, if you receive public assistance, so that's TANF, temporary assistance for needy families, SSI, supplemental security income, or part of the SNAP benefit, supplemental nutrition assistance program. Those will also make you categorically eligible. And then if the family is experiencing homelessness or they have a child in the home who is in foster care, will make them categorically eligible. We wouldn't even be looking for income information.
Okay, so if you guys are keeping notes on your little in your little columns that we set aside for Head Start, you can remember that eligibility, there is categorical eligibility attached to Head Start. And we'll look next at MEC Pre-K. Dr. Cantor, could you tell us a little bit about MEC Pre-K and what your program entails and what the eligibility requirements are?
Sure. So MEC Pre-K is in its 8th year. As I sort of mentioned in the first question, we came from a study that looked at economics and the possibility of economic mobility among citizens in Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. And 11 years ago, your chances of moving out of poverty were pretty much 0%. They were less than in any other developed country in the world. That was pretty shocking to a lot of people in Mecklenburg County. I was an associate dean at the time at Central Piedmont Community College when that came out. And because we focused so heavily on workforce development, that really shook us because it said, wow, you're not doing a very good job. People aren't experiencing upward mobility. So out of that, a group formed first a task force and then the organization that is now called Leading on Opportunity. And they chose 5 pillars to concentrate on, 5 things that the study authors said, this is what a community with high economic mobility looks like. These are the things it features. And one of those things is a high quality early childhood education program that is universal, is open to any child in the county, both the city and the county. And so that they get that, what we know by definition is a high quality early childhood experience. That criteria has been around for many years, what defines a high quality program. So MEC Pre-K was started out of that. It has grown from a few centers and a few classrooms to now we have 115 classrooms in, I always get this wrong, 52 centers. We're located 100% in child development centers across the county. So in 52 centers, 2 of those are, as Alicia just said, 2 of those are Alliance centers, Head Start centers. So we run several classrooms for Head Start. They're eligible 4-year-olds attend, as well as other children. And then we're across the county. We run on a regular school day, a 6.5-hour school day. But because we're in child development centers, we also offer after care as a part of the day, because most parents, need some care after to cover their regular working hours. We have licensed teachers in all our classrooms. In North Carolina, there's a license called BK. It stands for birth through kindergarten. So it's especially focused on early childhood and what we know is the right kind of classroom for young children, especially 4-year-olds in their pre-K year. So we follow those guidelines. We are recognized by the state. We have our own teacher evaluation system, just like teachers in the public school are evaluated every year. Our teachers are also with a state-approved program. So we run pretty parallel. Our teachers are paid on the public school salary schedule, and our assistant teachers are paid on the CMS non-licensed personnel salary schedule. So to keep it fair and to keep teachers, to draw in people who'd like to, teach with us. And eligibility wise, you have to be 4 years old and live in Mecklenburg County. Those are the only criteria.
So if you are keeping track on your little sheet of paper, on your columns of your 4 columns, we've had Head Start, we have MEC Pre-K. Head Start has eligibility requirements, and there are some categorical eligibility elements that will allow you to be automatically eligible for Head Start. And then we have had MEC Pre-K, which was just presented, where MEC Pre-K is considered universal. And that means you just have to be 4 years old and live in Mecklenburg County. So there are no other eligibility requirements. And next, we will have Dr. Daniels, and she's going to present 2 programs through CMS, NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings. So if you could, Dr. Daniels, just really specifically make sure they know which of the programs you're talking about. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. So we will start with the Bright Beginnings program. So within Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, all of our Bright Beginning classes are located in our elementary schools. And much like the other pre-K programs, we certainly follow a school calendar. We follow the school schedule. So our students that are in the Bright Beginnings classes are served at 7.5 hours per day. Our teachers are highly skilled and qualified. They come in with a birth through kindergarten license. We also have a number of different literacy coaches that work side by side with our teachers to provide that level of professional development and coaching as it relates to best support students. We follow the creative curriculum through teaching strategies, which provides an opportunity for language, literacy, math, and social skills. When we're speaking specifically as it relates to Bright Beginnings, the eligibility criteria is just a little different. So we gauge students who are determined eligible based on a developmental need. So for example, if a student comes in, a parent applies, they'll go through what we call a screening process, which is an assessment in which will determine whether that child demonstrates the greatest need. I'm going to switch gears. As it relates to our NCK program, classes are also located in 10 of our elementary schools, as well as 26 of our child development centers as it relates to high,
Oh,
both the Bright Beginnings.
hold on a second, Dr. Daniels. You're breaking up really badly. And we're not getting any of the information that you're saying. I'm sorry. I, I don't know.
Okay,
Let's try again. Test.
are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so then I will start again. So I was transitioning over to explain the NC Pre-K program. So our NC Pre-K classes are located in 10 of our elementary schools within Charlotte Mecklenburg school system, as well as 26 of our child development centers. So the difference is that with our NC Pre-K classes, the eligibility criteria is much like our Head Start. So we gauge the eligibility on income as well as categorical processes. And so that might look like whether a family were to receive any type of assistance, whether we have students or families that are considered McKinney-Vento or experiencing any type of homelessness, whether they're in foster care, as well as supporting our military families. So that is truly one of the only differences as it relates to the eligibility for NC Pre-K versus Bright Beginnings. We also have our application process is open now. The application started December the 1st. So our programs definitely provide a high quality learning experience that best prepares children ultimately for kindergarten. So we support students as it relates to providing that supportive environment. We certainly have transportation that we provide to our families and students that live within that school area.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Daniels. So again, if you're keeping track in your columns with all the different programs, you will see that the three programs, Head Start, Bright Beginnings, and NC Pre-K all have certain areas in which you could be categorically qualified. But for the most part, those would be things that would be found in the screener for Bright Beginnings for the screening process. And when we talk about screening, what are the different programs that you have? We'll go through each program, each of the programs that you have available or services for children with bilingual education needs or for children with special academic needs. We can start with Ms. Wilson.
Absolutely. So here at the Alliance Center for Education, when it comes to our students with exceptionalities and those who are dual language learners, we currently are partnering with Charlotte Bilingual Preschool to have 4 dual language learner classrooms in our sites. That is to be able to close that academic gap between our Latinx students and their peers. Research shows that normally our Latinx students are coming in scoring significantly lower than their peers in reading, math, and literacy. As far as our services for students with exceptionalities, we have a whole mental health and disabilities department that supports those children and families. What we do, we within the first 45 days of the child's enrollment, we provide them with a developmental assessment. This developmental assessment is not to diagnose the child, it's only to support the teachers in understanding where the children are so that they can provide the instruction to get them where they need to be. However, if the developmental assessment indicates there could be a potential delay in the child's development, we work with CMS Exceptional Children's Program to get them further assessed and to eventually get them an individualized education plan or IEP. For students who wouldn't qualify for an IEP through CMS Exceptional Children's Services, we actually partner with related service providers in the community. So that's Charlotte Speech and Hearing. It could be Milestones, other PT, OT, and speech therapy services to provide those related services to get the students where they need to be. We also provide family referrals for those families who have children who may be experiencing challenging behaviors. Those in-home intensive services includes programs with CTT, I believe I may be getting the acronym wrong. However, they go inside the home and provide that intensive in-home therapy with the parent and the child to be able to support the child, not only being able to regulate their behaviors at home, but also in the school.
Okay. Dr. Cantor, you want to talk a little bit about any services that are available, specialized services through MEC Pre-K?
Sure. So very similar to Miss Alicia, what she just told you. I have a whole department that is set up to work with these families. It is called our Child Development and Family Support Division. I have in there very skilled people with special education backgrounds, working with children with exceptionalities, in other ways, backgrounds. I'm very proud that our director of that program just became certified to offer and support early childhood mental health services. So we have a whole team that works on that. And basically, we have two categories of families that come to us. One, they come to us, they already have a diagnosis. They've probably worked with Child Development Services Association, which is the early intervention program in North Carolina. So some families, their child's had a diagnosis before age 3, has received services from CDSA already, and then they transition to us, and we work with them on whatever that might have. Sometimes that includes they've already had their evaluation from CMS and do have an IEP in place. So we put those services, we make sure those services are in place and they're getting the visits they're supposed to get from itinerant teachers and all of that. And we have people fully dedicated to assign to families to help them. The other category are families where a child has a need, but it hasn't been identified or diagnosed yet. And we have a variety of ways that we approach that. Again, we have the whole team who are skilled in, doing assessments and helping identify issues. We also, every one of our centers, the 52 centers I mentioned, every one of them has a speech and language partner, a physical therapy partner, an occupational therapy partner. And now, starting this year, they also have a behavioral health partner. And so those agencies come in and screen the whole class, all of the children. And if they, there's a red flag thrown up, or they think there's something going on, or if the teacher throws up a red flag and says, I think there's something going on here, then that unit works with the family and contacts the family, says, here's what we're seeing. What are you seeing? We have care meetings, all with the goal of helping the child and the family get the services that they do need. We've had new relationships with some diagnosticians. It can be very difficult, particularly with the mental health issues and behavioral health issues, to get appointments and to find service providers, but they are starting to increase in Charlotte, which is a really, really good thing. So yeah, much like Alicia said, our goal is to provide those links for parents, help them get the resources and services they need. Many times those services are delivered at the center. Almost all of our speech, OT, and PT are all delivered at the center by those agencies. So it's not an extra outside appointment for parents. And then some receive services during the day, in the school day, and then others go to particularly for applied behavior analysis, ABA services. They often visit a clinic after school as well to receive further support. But it's not a hindrance at all to us whether the child has a diagnosed need, has an undiagnosed need. We find it out while they're with us. We help them overcome it while they're with us. Yeah, we work with the families.
Okay, and Dr. Daniels, do you want to speak about NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings, the different offerings that you all have?
Well, absolutely. And much like working with the family and putting the child first, if a child is eligible for special education services through the district, an individualized educational plan will be developed that outlines the goals and services that the student will receive based on their needs. So any related services that the child is eligible for is designed by a team, an IEP team. And the goal is to make sure that those needs are met for the student. So whether that be speech, OT, or PT, we certainly make sure that those services are provided once the child has an IEP. So the IEP team works together with the families to ensure that services are provided in a least restrictive environment to the greatest extent possible. So this could mean that when we have 4-year-old students that are coming in, whether they're in Bright Beginnings, whether they're in NC Pre-K, and much like our Head Start programs, we certainly provide that level of support, but we operate as a team. And so if there's any outside or related services that is necessary that aligns to the child's IEP, that certainly is provided.
So if you are following on your column of amenities for each of the different programs, when we look at services for students with any specialized or bilingual needs, you can check yes, 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 and yes for all 4 programs that have extensive services for those needs. Can we talk about application processes? So the question has come up about when your applications open and what is the process for applying. Can you talk to us about that, Ms. Wilson, at Head Start?
Absolutely. So our new application for the 26-27 program year is going to be launched on February the 1st. The process for that normally is to go to our website at ac, the number 4ed.org. That's ac4ed.org. Click on the programs tab and choose the age group in which your child belongs to. From there, you would fill out a what we call a pre-application or entrance form. What that entrance form does is gather certain information around the child's age and maybe even any location preferences, anything that we need to know about the child's development or if there are any concerns the family has about the child's development. And then from there, within 3 to 5 business days, 5 days is pushing it, but within 3 to 5 business days, an intake specialist would then contact that family. Then they would initiate the eligibility process. That's when they'll ask for proof of age, which could be the child's birth certificate. It could be the mother's or the father's copy that's provided at the hospital. It could be any official medical documentation that has the child's name and the birth date to prove their proof of age. And then we would ask for any income if they're not already deemed categorically eligible. So that income that we would ask for is normally the previous year's W-2s, the last 2 months of check stubs, any tax transaction, tax prepared paperwork. So I can get my words right. in any employment letters or anything, or family support letters that says that they support the family. Normally, after you're done with the eligibility intake process, they'll deem whether or not you're eligible, but your child automatically goes on the wait list. That's because during the intake process, we also use selection criteria. So there's other things outside of being categorically eligible or meeting those income guidelines. There are things like the parent's educational level. Is it a two-parent home? Is it a single family home? Is it a teen parent? Is the mom pregnant? Is the family does the family have a military person in the family? So many other selection criteria that can add up. So the families and the children with the greater needs are selected first.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Cantor, can you tell us about your application date and any other special information they need to know about applying the process?
Absolutely. So the applications are online. They will open Monday morning for the new school year. It can be done 100% online. You will need these documents can all be scanned in. You will need a copy of the child's birth certificate or a county issued, I can't remember the term. There's a card sometimes that counties issue when they can't locate the birth certificate. So just proof of the child's birth, proof that you live in Mecklenburg County. And on our website, there's a list of acceptable documents. They're the usual things: a rental agreement, a mortgage payment, a tax bill, an electric bill, all of those kinds of things. And then proof of the parent or guardian's identity, so a driver's license, basically. You scan and upload those 3 documents, fill out the form. You're asked to choose your top 3 locations where you would like to be. And then you will receive an email that says that you'll receive 1 or 2 emails. Thank you for starting an application. You're still missing such and such, or thank you, your application is complete, and you will hear about placement soon. So our applications open, like I said, Monday. One of the questions in here is, if my child's already at a center that hosts MEC Pre-K, do I have to apply, or will I automatically be placed? So the answer is yes, you have to apply, but it may be, check with your director. A lot of directors save their MEC Pre-K sites for their current clientele. They do that by sending us a list that says, please automatically place this family as soon as you get their application. Please place this family as soon as you get their application. So check with your director at that site to see if they put your name up. Some directors choose to do that. Others choose to let their slots fill organically. So that's really important, is if you're at a site and you want to stay there, that you find out if the director put your name on a list. If not, get your application in as soon as possible. So that's the application process.
Great, thank you. Dr. Daniels, the application process for NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings, please.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we are excited to inform the audience here that our application process started December 1st, and this for NC Pre-K as well as Bright Beginnings. So all students must have turned 4 on or before August 31st of 2026. Upon submitting the application, it will be reviewed by our student placement team. Then you receive some form of approval, whether the child's application has been approved. Then it will go to the next stage, which is the pre-K department. The next step is that the screening process will occur. So parents that meet the eligibility criteria as it relates to either the income or as it relates to the developmental screening will be able to move forward in terms of obtaining a placement. But to provide you with information as it relates to how to apply, parents will need to go to our CMS website, which is cmsk12.org. Then they would click on families, then the pre-K registration. Then at that point, the family will be prompted to create an account, complete the application online, upload all related documents as it relates to birth certificates or proof of residency. Then an email appointment will be sent out to confirm that the application has been received and that the next step of either screening or reviewing the income eligibility criteria. So we are excited that that application is already ongoing throughout the year. Excuse me, and we encourage all of our families to take this very important step in their child's journey.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. We're going to have a couple more questions, and then we will address the questions in the chat. Some of the questions got addressed, but we will make sure that we read them out for everyone's benefit. So again, if you have questions as we're going along, make sure you get it in the chat, because when we finish these last couple of questions, we'll go straight to the questions and answer them for you. Just for a point of clarification, I know Dr. Daniels mentioned when your child, the deadline to turn 4 for NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings. Is there a different date or a specific date for Head Start and Mech Pre-K to turn 4?
It's all by August 31st. So
Okay.
our programs, whether it's early Head Start, or our pre-K partnership classrooms, they will need to turn 3 through 5 or 3 through 4 before on or before August 31st.
Awesome. Thank you. Just to make sure everybody is clear on that. And so when we talk about programming, we've talked about academics. Well, we've kind of talked a little bit about academics, but we've talked about why pre-K4 is important. But can each of you talk a little bit about what are some of the family initiatives that you have at your programs? How do you bring parents into the program? How do you bring the family to create this whole wraparound program? Let's start with you, Ms. Wilson. What do you guys do to incorporate the family?
Well, part of our footprint as it relates to the Head Start model includes comprehensive family engagement. So how we involve the family in our programs, it starts from the very beginning, where we offer home visits to just assess, the home and any maybe emergent or crisis needs that they may have to be able to support the family there. We offer 2 parent teacher conferences throughout the year. We also have a lot of family engagement events where we bring the families in. They have open volunteer opportunities. But as it relates to the family as a whole, we have what we call the Parent, Family, and Community Engagement Framework that we operate off of. Here is where we initiate family partnership agreements with the families. So at the very onset of the child's enrollment, we have our family engagement specialist that sits down with each individual family. Not only do they fill out the family partnership agreement, which is basically agreement between the school and the home, basically saying that we're going to work and do everything we can on the behalf of the child. We also incorporate goal setting. So we use SMART goals to support the families in reaching that economic mobility and family stability. So that can be anything related to if the families want more information on or want to learn more about parenting, if they want to know, if they want to learn how to create a resume, if they're looking for work, if they're looking to buy a home, buy a car. Any goal that they have, we work with them hand in hand in helping them reach that goal. We also have a big initiative on male engagement, where we invite the male role models. And we specifically say male role models and not fathers because we know that a lot of our children do not have fathers in the home, but they have grandfathers, cousins, uncles, neighbors, coaches, and mentors. All of those male role models are invited to be a part of the child's overall development. We also have family fun nights quarterly, where we bring all of our families together that so they can learn about what's going on in the classroom, to learn about different activities that they can implement in the home to piggyback off of what we're teaching the children in the classroom. And as far as our other programs, we have, monthly socializations, which are network opportunities for the parents to come together, learn together, and have that sense of belonging.
Awesome. Dr. Cantor, you want to talk a little bit about any family programming or family engagement that you guys have?
It's actually very similar to what Ms. Alicia just talked about. We all pretty much run in the same model, in the same mode. So I do have a family engagement specialist on staff full-time who works to engage our families and help our families and support our families. So I'd say there's two categories within which she works. One of the things that we ask all parents to do, which is very similar to what Alicia talked about, we require 2 parent-teacher conferences a year, one after our first trimester and one after our second. The third one at the end of the year we offer, but we say it's optional. And usually only the parents who take us up on that one are the ones who are worried about their entry into kindergarten, if some, learning difficulties were identified along the way, and where are we with that process and what should we do over the summer. So we have parent-teacher conferences. We have a read at home program. So every one of our MEC pre-K children bring home a book every single night that they attend a school day. And they start a reading log the very first day of school. And so our goal is that every child reads 100 books during the school year. Happy to say many children have surpassed that by November. Our teachers are fabulous at promoting this, celebrating kids as they reach their various milestones, doing family celebrations around it. So great with that. We use the creative curriculum, which is divided into studies. So for example, children, they're just finishing up the signs study. They've done buildings, they've done trees, they've done water, coming up will be insects. These units of study last about 4 weeks. And at the end of each one, there's what we call the celebration of learning. And so the teachers all plan in each individual. Now, usually when there's multiple classrooms in a center, the teachers will plan it together. So it'll be one big celebration. But sometimes they do their own thing. And then in our smaller centers where there's only one classroom, it's just the one MEC pre-K classroom. But parents are invited in for those celebrations of learning. And the kids get to show off what they've learned. They usually make displays, give little speeches, presentations, that kind of thing. Those are usually very, very well attended. We also require each of our centers, and our family engagement specialist helps with this. We require each center to offer 2 parent workshops a year. And we've got a whole slew of suggested topics and speakers that they can draw from, or they can bring in someone from their community that they really admire and love and want to share with parents. So we offer those parent workshops. We have a run by our family engagement specialist. We have a family advisory council, parent advisory council that any parent is welcome to serve on. They meet monthly, talk about what they've seen going on in the classroom, what has worked really well. A lot of times parents from one center will bring ideas back to their center, of things that are happening somewhere else. How can we make things better? How can we make things easier for families? So we're constantly taking that feedback. So that exists. And then the other part of our family engagement specialist job is to support and help families with any kind of crisis. We have, right now, we are experiencing a lot of reports of food insecurity. So she is working, scrambling with the various entities in the community to help us find enough food. That parent advisory council that I just talked about took it upon themselves, hearing that this was an issue between the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, took it upon themselves. They did a food drive, prepared boxes, and delivered them to families reporting food insecurity. So we're there for that. We also have vouchers if families are reporting temporary issues with transportation. We provide a variety of supports so that their child can still get to school. We help if there's an extreme crisis and event, and we have those come up sometimes. We are very blessed to have a social worker from the county assigned to us. So we can turn to her if, a teacher or a parent comes in and reports in school, this is happening, it's usually domestic violence. But this is happening in my household, I need help. we can get them that help fairly quickly. We do have connections to the county workforce development program, so parents who are seeking work have access to those services. So we really look to, to serve the entire family, because we know that's what, and again, we are based on that research study that said families have to be intact and strong. Whatever that family looks like, whatever the configuration is, they have to be intact and strong for everybody, to succeed, everybody to move up, everybody to do better in life. So that's really our goal, is to wrap that family up and help them any way we can.
Awesome. Dr. Daniels, what kind of good things are you guys doing for families, and how do you connect them to their child's education over at CMS? Oh, she just froze. Well, hopefully.
Hey, Dr. Daniels, if you can hear me, try without your video. I keep getting a message that says Dr. Daniels has low bandwidth. Dr. Daniels has low bandwidth.
Stop, man. Go potty.
Let's see if, I don't know if she can hear you.
No, I don't know if you can hear me or not on that.
Stop. Go. That's enough.
There, Dr. Daniels, can you hear us?
I can hear you all just fine.
Okay, there
Can
you
hear
go.
me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, very well. Well, I'll turn the video off for now, but I'll speak from the educational perspective, because much like MEC Pre-K, as well as what Head Start has to offer in focusing on the whole family, we have various different avenues, whether it be family
Way earlier.
advocates, social
potty.
workers, as well as a department within Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools that works with mental health services, and all of those different resources to help the whole family. But coming from the perspective of having a one-stop shop where families can get involved and understand and know from various areas, whether it be pre-K all the way up to 12th grade, we have a family portal where families can access any type of district instructional resources, any type of learning tools, curriculum guides, all in one location. So as it relates to our pre-K families, we strongly encourage them to actively participate in the pre-K programs, particularly at their child development centers, whether it be with NC Pre-K or within the classrooms within the elementary schools with Bright Beginnings. We know that research shows that active family engagement and participation early on in a child's life can definitely contribute to a positive outcome in school, and we encourage that. So if a family has a special talent or hobby and want to be able to share those talents within the school setting, they certainly are welcome to do so, particularly as it relates to the various different types of studies and celebrations. I believe Dr. Cantor mentioned the different types of studies around trees, around clothing. During the holiday season, as we transitioned into that and ended our clothing unit, our families came out to the schools and the CDC centers to participate in a fashion show. So these are just various examples of how we can get families engaged in their child's learning. And it just doesn't stop in pre-K. It kind of continues on throughout that child's educational journey. So we know that together, if we continue to build strong partnerships with the schools and families, we can certainly have a stronger community.
At this time, we're going to try to go through some of the questions. I'm going to go through, for the sake of time, go through some of the questions in the chat that I feel like haven't gotten answered. Goodness. All right, everybody's asking about the application, the time that it will open. Okay, we're doing a good job of answering people in real time. Go us. That's awesome. Okay, so I feel like if there were any other questions, you guys could feel free to put them in the chat at this time. We want to take a minute to thank everyone for being on this panel tonight. We know this is so important. Here in Mecklenburg County, we are really blessed to have so many different options that are free of cost for our children. We want to make sure that all of the seats are full in everybody's program so that every child has the best opportunity at a great start that they possibly can get. Let's see. Are there, one of the questions are there after-school options for Bright Beginnings? Dr. Daniels?
We have a Bright Beginning in our Bright Beginnings. We do have some after school options within the elementary schools. So it just depends on the site. It depends on the location.
Okay, depends on the site and the location. Dr. Cantor mentioned that the MEC pre-K applications open Monday, but also people are talking about Tuesday in the chat. Which one is it?
So technically, sorry, and that was my fault for saying Monday because Monday's a holiday, which I totally forgot. So technically, it opens Tuesday morning. My guess is they'll have it open by Monday evening, but if you check first thing Tuesday morning, it'll be there. So
From Piper, it says, apologies if this was already answered, but can we tour the various centers or schools?
yeah, so
Yes.
for MEC pre-K, you just have to identify which ones you're interested in, and then just call the center directly, make an appointment with them, and say, "I'm considering you as my MEC pre-K site. Can I come for a visit?" And they'll set that up with you. Yep.
Yes, same thing for Alliance Center for Education.
As it relates to our CDCs, which is our Child Development Centers, as well as our elementary schools, we just ask that you contact either location, and they're very open to allowing a tour to take place. It just has to be scheduled.
Okay. What about homework requirements? They said 4 years old, get to work. These parents want to know if you all have homework options. What are the homework requirements?
Well, for Head Start, and I'm sure Dr. Mary Margaret and Dr. Daniels will be able to tell you about their programs, which are pretty similar. We don't have homework requirements. However, we do send home in-home activities for the families through our Teaching Strategies app. That's where we have our creative curriculum through. But there's a portal that our teachers can send at-home activities for them to complete, during the week, over breaks and things like that. We also utilize our parenting curriculum. Is parent powered, formerly Ready 4K, that kind of builds off of the child development milestones for where they should be for the widely held expectations for their age, that they'll get something, text actually in their native language, up to 3 times a week with different developmental and fun activities for the families to be able to enjoy. Other than that, there are no homework requirements. However, we do strongly encourage that the families participate in those in-home activities and that reading every night.
Yeah, same for us. Nothing's ever required. Again, we strongly encourage that reading every night because we know that shared reading, and we try to be very clear with parents when we say it doesn't mean you have to sit down and read a book. We talk about, did you have a shared book experience? It could be the child flips through the book and tells the story to you, or you could go through and tell the story together by looking at the pictures, or the child could look for the first letter in their name by flipping the pages. It's just a shared print, experience. So we try really hard, act out the book. You don't have to read it, act it out. So we really do focus on that and ask parents to try and do something literacy related with their child at least a few times a week so that everybody reaches that 100 book goal. But there's no punishment if you don't do it. I mean, and then, like Alicia mentioned, we also send home through the Teaching Strategies Family app, those suggested activities. When you enroll in MEC Pre-K, you're automatically enrolled in a service called Ready Rosie. And Ready Rosie is for the parents. So the parents watch a video. You get a under 2-minute video every week. And it suggests some activity to do with your child. It can be while you're in the car, taking a walk, standing in line at the grocery store, waiting at the doctor's office, all those places. It's a quick little video that shows you an activity you can do with your child to build the necessary skills. So we encourage parents to use Ready Rosie. Sometimes our teachers will send home, for example, at the beginning of the year, the first creative curriculum unit we do is creating a classroom community. And there's an activity whereby they send materials home with the child and ask them to put together either, sometimes it's a family tree, sometimes it's a family collage, sometimes it's, so the child can bring in, a solid object that portrays their family and talk about their family with everybody else in the class. During the building study, they say, which families want to be creative and create a building. And we have kids bring in, they make Target stores, they make hospitals, they make veterinary clinics, someplace that has some meaning for the child. And the family works together. Nothing big, nothing elaborate, nothing, but just a way to represent the learning. Again, never required, just suggested ways to expand your child's learning at home.
Okay, we're going to address some more questions we have in the chat before we close out. A question from Shanita. My son got approved for MEC Pre-K, but we're having a problem finding a school close by with transportation. Should I sign him up for NC Pre-K as well? We just moved here from Sparta and he's supposed to graduate from Pre-K in May. So does that mean he will have to repeat Pre-K, or will he be able to still get into a school so that he could graduate whenever you are all scheduled to graduate for the summer?
So in terms
So that's somebody enrolled that was somebody for this year.
Yeah, that sounds like, Shanita, it sounds like you're looking for enrollment for this year. And it must be, we don't have any openings at centers that are close enough for you with a transportation option. So yeah, I encourage, NC Pre-K, I think probably still has some openings.
I can speak to that. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We certainly do have openings in our NC Pre-K within our child development centers. I'm happy to obtain some information offline, and we can certainly be able to help support you through that process.
So Shanita, if you want to put an email in the chat, Dr. Daniels could get that and she could reach back to you directly. Myra, is there additional support offered for children with autism? So it sounds like there were some, well, I know for a fact, in the programs that they did mention that there are ABA services and things like that in the different programs. So there are support services for children with additional needs. Curious if with Bright Beginnings program associated with Dilworth Elementary School, will it move to the new location when that school opens in the new building? P.S. My older son did Bright Beginnings last year and he was so prepared for kindergarten. Thank you for the good work going into this program. Look at that, with a vote of confidence, Dr. Daniels, already from a graduate, and now they have another child. Do you have any answers for that question about Dilworth?
Well, we certainly are appreciative of the compliment there. That has not been determined at this time, but we will get more information out as it relates to our upcoming sites. That is forthcoming.
Kurt asked if someone could post where the recording could be found for this, because he has to go to bed for his little human. We appreciate you being on, Kurt, for the time that you stayed on, and we have the link posted for you right there. But it will also be on all the social media channels for the rest of the panelists as well. Shanita posted her email address for Dr. Daniels. Somebody said, what about Montessori? Are there any Montessori is there any Montessori curriculum in any of the schools? Head Start, any of the programs? No. Okay.
None in MEC Pre-K. None of the Montessori programs participate in MEC Pre-K.
Okay, there we go. Well, we appreciate you all being on with us this evening. Again, as most representative of Smart Start of Mecklenburg County, I'm so glad we could offer this open discussion and bring more information to you all about the different pre-K4 offerings that we have here in Mecklenburg County for you and your little humans. At Smart Start, we want to be the ones to help you learn how to make your children thrive by the time they turn 5. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your questions. Again, we will be reposting the recording of this. If you have any additional questions, you can go to enrollprek.com to get any more information about what we talked about tonight. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, because our goal is to make sure that all of these seats in pre-K and all of these programs are filled this year. We offered this program at this time of year because this is the time for enrollment. Many people make the mistake and think summer is when it's time to sign up, and summer is too late. So please make sure that you share with your friends and all of their friends that now is the time. Enrollment is happening now. Summer is too late. Thank you again. My name is Dr. Nicole Campbell, representing Smart Start of Mecklenburg County. Have a good night. Thank you.
All our
Have a
emails
good
are on
evening,
there.
you
All
all.
three of us just put our emails in the chat. So
All their emails are in the chat, and you'll be able to get all the information again on enrolledprek.com. Thank you.
Have a good evening.